Our mom had been struggling with dementia for a while when we decided to hire a caregiver for her. We knew how hard it was to take care of her. Dealing with Alzheimer's or other dementia is just not easy. To say the least, hiring a caregiver was a big decision for us. We found Hand in Hand, which is an organization with years of experience of giving advice to people in our situation. I realized that employers who are fair, have better working relationships with the caregivers in their homes, receive better care, and experience less turnover. Caring for a loved one is important skilled work, and caregivers should be compensated with a fair living wage to make sure that they can provide for themselves and their families. So let's just jump into what that looks like. Long-term home care can be expensive. But there are a number of financial assistance programs available through public programs like Medicaid and Medicare, as well as state-specific resources. To learn more about the options, click the link in the description of the video. This process can take months, so start as early as possible. If financial support through public programs is just not an option for you, be sure to balance what you can afford with the understanding that whoever you hire deserves a family-sustaining wage. Pay as generously as possible. Also, be sure to check out any local legal requirements. The best place to find those is on your local Department of Labor website. Let's talk about fair pay. Fair pay has 3 components. It's a living wage, paying overtime, and paying on a reliable schedule. When we started out hiring for our mother, we had to figure out what each of those components meant, so we did some research. A living wage is enough money for a family to meet their basic needs, such as housing, food, and transportation. Obviously, the amount of money needed to live varies depending on where you live, so do some research on the cost of living in your area. A good place to start is MIT's Living Wage Calculator. Overtime is any time worked over 40 hours in a week or more than 8 hours in a day. Caregivers are typically hourly workers, so they are entitled to overtime pay. Each overtime hour should be paid at 1.5 times the hourly rate. For example, someone earning $20 per hour should get $30 per overtime hour. So, what if you employ a caregiver for a high number of hours but can't afford to pay overtime? Some people solve this problem by employing multiple workers, possibly a daytime provider and a nighttime provider. And finally, pay reliably. Pay the caregiver on time, every time. Use a timesheet to track their hours and make sure they are paid accurately. Everyone needs time to rest. This includes sick days, vacation days, and holidays. Giving paid time off ensures that the caregiver has the time they need to care for themselves, which means they will be rested, healthy, and able to do their best work. Offer the caregiver at least 5 paid sick days per year. If they work part-time, they should earn 1 hour of sick time for every 40 hours worked. Offer the caregiver at least 2 weeks paid vacation per year. If they work part-time, they should earn 1 hour of vacation time for every 20 hours worked. Caregivers start earning their vacation time from the first day on the job, but it is reasonable to ask the caregiver not to use this time during the first 3 months. It's also reasonable to request at least 30 days advance notice from the caregiver for scheduling vacation. Ultimately, when a vacation is scheduled, it is up to the caregiver, but you can request that you can work together to find a time that works for you both. Unused vacation time can roll over from year to year, but employers may cap the number of days taken into the next year at 15. At the end of the job, any vacation time the caregiver has earned but not used should be paid out to them in full. Provide your caregiver with 9 paid holidays per year. These can be the same holidays that schools and banks would be closed. If you ask them to work on a holiday, they should be paid at an overtime rate. Caregivers are entitled to rest breaks during the day. However, it's not always as simple as that, going off duty while alone with someone who needs their care, and that can be tricky to navigate. But do what you can as the employer to make sure caregivers have time to take care of themselves, like taking breaks to eat, drink, use the bathroom, and make a phone call. We were worried about my mom wandering while the caregiver took their break, but we also know that breaks are super important. So we set up an alarm system for doors and got her one of those dementia identification bracelets that had my phone number on it. Learning about these steps and following them made all the difference in my mom's care and the solid relationship we set up with her caregiver. Learn more about how to get all this down in a written agreement by checking out our next video in the series.